All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, very excited to be chatting with an individual who is readying to compete at UFC 297, which goes down on January the 20th. And a lot of questions are going to be answered, a lot of finality, a lot of closure, all those good words. Ramon Taveras and Serhiy Sidey linking up for the rematch, and always good having Serhiy on the show. How are you doing there, man?
Yeah, buddy, I'm great. Training hard, staying focused and just getting ready for the big date. I'm just excited to fight in front of my hometown.
Yeah, and I mean, how long has this been something that's like definitively been on your mind? Like, it seems like something that you've wanted to have manifest into reality for, I mean, presumably, like, since you got into MMA. So, like, what does this moment feel like just to lead up into it?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm not even kidding. I remember like driving into Toronto, like listening to Drake like 5-6 years ago, and like looking at the arena. I think like I don't know if it was called like it was a different name. I think it was like Rogers Arena or something. I think, but regardless, like I'd look into that arena and I'd be like, yo, one day I'm gonna fight here. And I'd just like be bumping some Drake, and just like again like this big like little kid, big dreams, like always had a weird feeling that I was gonna get there. Don't know how, didn't know when, but like I just had this like weird confidence that I was gonna get there, and I just stayed true to the process. And it's time to do it now, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it seems like that's been a building in particular that you've been fixated on, and you were kind of like touching on it a bit there. Like, and it seems like that's a common sentiment among a lot of people on this card, which I just love seeing. Like, I think I'd also read an interview with Mike Malott that also featured you, where it was like discussing that very topic. So, I mean, just an incredible sort of thing there, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dream come true, man. I cannot wait to feel the energy in the arena. I feel like it's gonna fuel me so much, and like really, like this is gonna be my breakthrough performance in the UFC to show who I am, and that I'm about it, and I'm looking for the big fight.
Yeah, and as I kind of alluded to in the intro, like, bit of a story to your fight. I mean, there's ultimately always a certain narrative to every fight at the end of the day, but just with like the line through element of the first fight kind of ending the way that it did. And I thought it was cool seeing you in like the post fight interview, because you're kind of just like, hey, yeah, at the end of the day, I did my job and got the win. It was, at the ref's discretion that the stoppage happened. But is there also a certain sense with this rematch of kind of, I guess, establishing that certain finality to maybe some people out there who are still like looking at the nature of the stoppage as maybe premature? Or like, how do you, I guess, look at that facet of the rematch, I guess?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like at the end of the day, like when I got in the back room and stuff, like I was a little bit pissed off because like I knew I was gonna finish this guy, and like again, like Ramon keeps saying that, oh, the ref took this moment away from me. It's like, nah, the ref took my moment away from me. Like I was gonna finish you. I was gonna make it spectacular, and unfortunately, the ref jumped in a little early. I knew where that fight was going. I was the guy on top of Ramon. I saw where that fight was going to go. Depending, even if he got up, I was going to finish him again, drop him again, submit him on the way up. There were so many potentials, but I'm happy for this dream match, because it's just gonna all that little bit of doubt like that other people have. I'm going to be able to kind of shut them up about it, and make my statement. I'm very confident about this fight. I know that Ramon's a dangerous opponent, but I just think I'm better everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting tendril of it as well, because like from my layman perspective, it seemed like the finish in the first fight came as smoothly as one could have wanted it to. So, I mean, it's an interesting mindset, because you're still very much looking at him as like a multifaceted, dangerous opponent, and I guess not resting on any laurels from the first fight. So, I mean, how much, I guess, like mental work is there? I mean, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's exactly it, man. Like, I completely erased the last fight out of my memory, man. This is a brand new opponent, a brand new danger. Like, just because I won the last match doesn't mean I have any advantage on this one. I'm treating it like a brand new opponent. I believe that he'll make a good some adjustments. He'll come back stronger, and I will come back stronger too, man. Like, I'm way better than the guy who just fought in September. So, like, that's exactly my mindset about it, man. Like, I'm hungry. I'm ready to just make a statement here, and I'm not like relying on that last victory as anything, man. That's thrown out in the past. Right now, I'm in the present, and it's a different opportunity now.
I was going to say it's similar to that mentality you were touching on when we spoke before the Ali Wazook rematch, like the idea of doing it more violently. Like, I imagine that's the idea here.
100%, man. I've had two rematches in my professional career. Both times, I finished the guy quicker in the second time around, man, and more violently, both times. So it's like, that's just the mindset I have. But again, I truly believe it's because I don't take these guys lightly, man. Like, I think the second I start taking people lightly, man, that's going to be a problem for me. But I'm never going to be like that. I treat these guys like the most dangerous individuals possible, and it makes me super prepared and, makes me ready for the moment.
Yeah, and it seemed like part of that preparedness for the first fight was like pretty centric on getting a lot of good southpaw kind of work. Is that still the case in this rematch? I would imagine so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Added a few new bodies. I have a pro boxer that's a southpaw that I've been working with, close to Ramon's height. And then, we got a decent amount of good southpaws that I've been working with. I have a main training partner, Brad Barrick. This guy's literally such a beauty. Like, his last two camps, he pretty much is a southpaw fighter now because he's just helping me out so much. Everything he's doing is in southpaw for me, like all our drilling, all our wrestling, everything. And that's been such a crazy help for me, man. And, I'm just so grateful that I have such a good team around me, man. Like, everybody cares about me and cares about our team growing. And, I'm getting, like, the best work in right now, which is awesome.
I mean, that sounds great. I mean, I imagine it's uplifting for both parties. Like you said, I mean, your sparring partner is like more taking on that profile of almost being a southpaw fighter now. And I mean, you hear that so much in training where it's like you're only as good as like your worst side. I mean, I usually hear that in like a jiu-jitsu context, but perhaps could also be applied to like a striking stance kind of idea.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, no, you love to see it, and it just seems like this event represents something on like a broader level for Canada too, just having seen like that Dave Shaw like media scrum where he was talking about like ramping up the schedule of events in Canada. Like, does it almost feel like you're really part of this big broader thing? It would feel like 2024 stands to be like a pretty strong year for Canadian mixed martial arts, and this really seems like it's kicking it off.
Yeah, that was I was like shocked that I got invited into that, but being around Mike Malott, Charles Jourdain, Mark Andrew Benoit, that guy, like, these guys like are all sick fighters. I've been looking up to, like, I've been watching Charles during the TKO days, obviously been following Mikey and his career for a long time, and then just like being in the room with those guys, like with Dave Shaw and stuff, like that was a crazy experience. But yeah, I just think I'm the right fit for this role. I feel like my style, my fights, my personality, everything, my persona, it'll help grow Canadian MMA, because that is the goal, man. Like, I feel like we have so much talent here in Canada. I train with so many killers, and we just need our chance. And I feel like putting these events out, like in Toronto, Vancouver previously, and hopefully more in the coming year, I think it's just going to keep growing the sport in Canada and growing the fan base. And we should have multiple events per year in Canada, which would be awesome.
Yeah, and just incredible stuff in a lot of ways. Like, we were talking about the importance of this fight and the local connection and just like that confidence that you always had for some reason that a lot of this would pan out. I mean, also very cool that you were in the crowd at one point in Scotiabank Arena with a UFC event being in Toronto, December 2018. Like, did that confidence always exist in you even prior to that? Did that night serve to embolden that confidence even more? I'm curious to get some insights there.
Yeah, brother, that night definitely boosted it for sure. It was like, okay, this is a legit arena. I'm here. These are the crowd. I felt the atmosphere. But yeah, I always had that confidence, man. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I'm just like dumb and I'm just like, I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen. But like, I just always had this confidence, man. Like, even when nothing was in my favor, man, like, I just knew it was going to happen. Like, even when I was like 17, 18 years old, just training, as an amateur, like, I just knew it was going to happen. And like, I just trusted my gut and just stuck with it, man. And I just stuck with it. I love the sport. I love growing. And I fall more in love with the sport every single year. But yeah, I always had that confidence. And, like when I'm about to walk out to a fight, I always like I like to go to the mirror and I like to like look at myself and kind of have a conversation with myself. And every time I look myself in the mirror right before the fight, man, like there's that trust with my highest self. There's that trust with my body and my mind and my spirit. And I always walk out there confident, ready to kill, man. And it hasn't failed me yet.
And I feel like this is almost a two-part question in my mind, so I'll try to break it down a little bit, because in that same feature I alluded to, I had seen that you had like a playlist curated called Future UFC Toronto with different pump up songs. Like, do you remember what was on that first playlist?
Oh yeah, man! I still have the playlist. It's like a bunch of Drake, a bunch of Lil Baby, but it was just the songs at the time that I loved. But like the big thing is like I remember like it was like I think I made the playlist like a few days after the event, and
Yeah.
again, I was just so motivated, right? And I put the cover photo of the playlist, like the arena, the Scotiabank Arena, right? Like looking into the cage and stuff. I think the picture was maybe when Max or Brian was walking out for the main event. And I had that playlist with just like a bunch of Toronto rappers. And it was cool, man. But I'm pretty sure I wrote it like, I don't remember the year, but like, I mean, I got it, like, I'm in the UFC now. It's 2023. I'm going to make my debut in 2024. But I think I had it like, I'll be in the UFC by 2021 or something like that. And then obviously like, with COVID and all that time, it didn't plan out that way, but it's really, really cool how it ended up happening.
And I guess like that second part that I alluded to, like, do you have like a new playlist curated that kind of represents songs that you're jamming now more so, or are you kind of revisiting that old playlist for almost like a certain perspective sort of thing? I'm curious on that.
So I usually make a different playlist every camp, man, and like every fight. Like I'll like this last one right before I got the Contender Series. I think it was like the day before the fight. I made a playlist and it was Get That Contract playlist, right? It was just like mindset, get that contract. Like let's go get this done. For this one though, man, I think what I'm gonna do is I'll probably just stick with that playlist. Maybe add a couple new songs. But like I think just the fact that I'm gonna be listening to that same playlist, a few years later in the same arena, like getting ready to walk out, I think that's going to be special, and I think that's going to be important for me. So yeah, it'll probably be the same playlist. I might add in a few different songs, though.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, just like to the point of like, I guess what you might be visualizing, because like even in the context of mentioning the music, it seems like manifestation is also kind of interwoven into that. Like in terms of manifestation, as far as like, I don't know, a broader impression you want to impart with this next fight, like, I guess what do you hope for in terms of like a, I guess, broader interpretation of the fight from people, or a definitive result? Like, I guess like what's the ideal way this story unfurls here in January?
Yeah, the ideal thing would be, walk out there, man, blast some Drake, get the Toronto community, get everybody super hyped up, man, and then finish this guy again, but finish him in a beautiful fashion, man. Like I'm never picking a certain weapon that I'm going to finish my opponent with, but what I do is I visualize every weapon I have, and I see myself finishing that opponent with everything, with every limb of my body, with every submission I got. So I like to go into those flow tanks, and I sit in those tanks, and I'll just visualize a knee to the face, head kick, body shot finish, straight right down the middle, submissions from front headlock, submission from my back. Like I visualize every single one, and I just repeat it. And then, again, like to be an ultimate strategist when it is time to fight, like you have to be in the moment and you have to be creative in the moment depending on the situation that arises at that time. So I just pull one of those highlight reel KO weapons out of the bucket, and that's the one I'm going to use for that fight. But it's definitely a finish, man. I am looking for that 50K bonus too, man. I want Dana to give me that 50K bonus, and I'm a finisher at heart, so I feel like I can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting. I think people that really follow on a BTC level and BFL really know what you bring to the table because of the title accolades for sure. But a cool part of this is like you're really exposing yourself to such a newer audience. So like love to see that sort of confluence, like the people who've been there and known for a while, and then the people who are going to be like, oh damn, that Serhiy Sidey guy.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for that, dude. I can't wait for that. Even like, yeah, that's going to be such a cool feeling, man. Like, I really like love inspiring people, like even after this last fight, how many like kids showed up to the gym, my gym, Burlington Training Center, and started training martial arts, and they're like, yo, you're my inspiration for coming to train. And I thought that was the coolest thing, man, because if I can change somebody's life for the better, man, with fitness, health, whatever it is, like that is a huge thing, man. Like, cause like, again, like it's cool that my life's gonna, like, I want to have a great life and stuff, but man, if I can impact other people's lives as well, that's something that's like really going to be dear in my heart.
Well, that's another big part of you too, like just like the people you've trained and things like that. Like I imagine that video that came out of like everyone at BTC watching the Contender Series fight, I imagine that hit in a good spot there.
Bro, I watched that like 1,000 times. Yeah. And like that, I watched everything. I would rewatch it to see every single person's reaction during that video, because that meant so much to me, man. And that's another thing I remember like right before like maybe a day before the fight, like knowing that there's gonna be that watch party and like visualizing like me rewatching that, like everybody jumping up and exploding up and like full of happiness and love and like support. And it's man, that's why I do it, man. It's like it's inspiring other people, man. It makes it more like the purpose is now more than just myself. You know, I'm doing this for others as well, and it definitely gives me a lot more energy and fuel to make things happen.
Yeah, it seems like big things are on the horizon. I was seeing that signed rookie pack on Millions. It seems like a lot of things are blowing up here.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're working, man. You know, that's it. Like my mindset is, again, I always say, but it's just 1% better every single day, man. I feel like every single fight camp I get into, my routines, my habits, my training, everything becomes more dialed in. Like I feel like I'm training like a world champion already, man. Like just my nutrition, my sleep, my supplementation, my recovery, like how much effort and mindfulness I'm putting into every single practice. Like all these little things, man, I'm doing them, and I'm always trying to add more. And I just think if I can keep doing this and I can keep getting better, then, you know, good things will come.
Yeah, it really comes across as like a lifestyle of a martial artist sort of thing. And I mean, you've really shown that so far on a fight-to-fight basis. So, I mean, no reason to start doubting you now, man. But you've been great with your time, and it's always fun getting to chop it up before these different fights. You definitely have a great mind for the game and everything, but just being mindful of your time and schedule too. I'm kind of curious if maybe you have a final parting thought you'd like to add as we're kind of wrapping up here, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just want everybody to like check out the fight, man. Check out UFC 297. All the Canadian fans, everybody support. I know the tickets are expensive and stuff. Watch the pay-per-views. You know, hang out in your local bar. Let's just keep growing this sport. There's just so much talent in Canada, and I'm hoping I can be one of those people that can help build this sport up to a different level here in Canada, inspire more kids to start training. And again, I feel like there's so much untapped potential here, and I feel like we can really, really blow it up. You know, like that's the goal, man. That is the goal. So just everybody tune in to 297 and watch the performances. It's gonna be an awesome card.
Yeah, and kind of like I was saying before, it feels like we're really like on the precipice of like a big sort of year and hopefully subsequent few years for Canadian MMA, and certainly a big step in your individual journey here with this Ramon Taveras rematch. And yeah, great getting to talk to you ahead of January 20th, man. Appreciate the insights ahead of UFC 297 and looking forward to checking it out for sure. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, Serhiy. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, brother. Thank you for having me, man. We've been through a few interviews now through this time, and it's cool. It's cool to keep talking to you, man. We'll keep doing it until I'm the world champ, bro.
No, I love that, man. Definitely here anytime you have a fight. Like I said, I feel like you've got a really great mind for it, and I mean, just a cool way to perceive the game. Like, definitely come across as like a dedicated, like 1% every day, as you had perfectly articulated it. So yeah, man, looking forward to the next chat, but also looking forward to this fight. So yeah, you have a good rest of your day, and thanks for the great insights as always.
You too, Dylan. Thank you, buddy.